and welcome to our December webinar. This is your Nebraska FBLA State Officer Team.
I'm Hunter Beatty, your State Parliamentarian.
I'm Otis, your State President.
Blake Langmack, your State Treasurer.
I'm John Willey, State Vice President.
I'm Riley Knust, the State Reporter.
And I'm Alex Siegel, your State Secretary.
Today, we wanted to discuss how to become a state officer and the process regarding the state officer application. But before you start your state officer application, it's important for you to consider the various responsibilities that come along with being a state officer. In the most general sense, state officers are responsible for developing Nebraska FBLA's program of work and our goals, writing pledge articles, submitting monthly reports to our state advisor, Jackie Garrison, presenting workshops at conferences such as the Fall Leadership Conference and the National Fall Leadership Conference, and conducting and presiding over sessions at our state leadership conference. Specifically, when it comes to the duties of the president is responsible for presiding over all meetings of Nebraska FBLA, serving on our FBLA Board of Directors, and basically being the liaison and the conduit for all officer activities when it comes to the state officer team.
And when it comes to the State Vice President, your main responsibility is filling in for the President when he or she is not there. Along with that, you coordinate all of the social media for Nebraska FBLA, and you chair the screening day, which is February 4th this year, and for the end of the year, you create a flashback video.
For the State Secretary, your main job is to take minutes at each meeting and conference that you attend. And the minutes are essentially the presidings of any business meeting that you are writing them for. The Treasurer has two main duties. The first one is promoting fundraisers and making sure chapters know how to fundraise well. And the second one is reaching out to chapters and making sure that their membership is turned in by January 15th.
The reporter is in charge of proofreading all the articles sent into the pledge, which is published 3 times a year. The reporter is also in charge of selecting the Outstanding Reporter Award recipient.
The parliamentarian advises the president on parliamentary procedure, as well as they serve as a delegate at the National Leadership Conference.
Some of these responsibilities may seem overwhelming right now, but it's important to remember that your state officer team and our state advisor will be your support system throughout the year. So if you are overwhelmed at a period of time, there is a support system. After the responsibilities, it comes to time to fill out the application. The application is due January 20th, must be either postmarked or sent to our state advisor by that date, and it can be found in the description below.
Once you have submitted your application, the next step in the process is the screening day, which is February 4th, as John mentioned. This is a requirement in order to run for office. The first step on screening day is the test. This test will quiz you over FBLA knowledge, as well as some basic parliamentary procedure. This just makes sure that you are qualified for the position, as you must get a 70% in order to be eligible to campaign. The study guide for this test is also available in the document below in the description. After you have completed the test, there is an interview with the Board of Directors. This interview is approximately 15 minutes long per candidate. And while this interview sessions are going on, there is presentations being put on by your state officer team. These will give you more information on some requirements for you during your campaign that you will encounter during SLC.
After you've gone through all this and you've passed the screening process, you're going to need to start campaigning. My first step for you when you start campaigning is picking a slogan. A slogan is something that would ring well or that's easy to remember for the delegation. When picking a slogan, make sure you put it on everything that you hand out at your booth, whether it be candy to pencils to toys. That way, no matter whatever you give out, your slogan's on there and people know where it came from. Also, your slogan is something that's important that you use when you're giving your 2-minute speech, which Riley's going to talk about next. But also, while campaigning, make sure you're at your campaign booth whenever you can be if you're not taking a test. And when you're there, make sure you're approachable and you answer questions to the best of your ability. So if there are some questions that you might struggle with, make sure you study for them before campaigning. Now Hunter's going to go over how to campaign as a candidate for parliamentarian.
Although campaigning for a parliamentarian is simply a formality because the candidate is selected based off of their test score at SLC, you still do have to go through the process. This includes the campaign speech, the campaign booth, as well as the formal caucus on that first evening. So you will have to prepare just as any other candidate would.
The first real step in the campaign process is the 2-minute speech that all candidates are required to give at the opening general session of the State Leadership Conference. This speech is very important in that it's the first look that the delegates really get at you, and it's important to make a great first impression. No skits or music are allowed, but the only tip I can give is just be yourself, focus on your goals, and also focus on what makes you qualified to be a state officer. Don't have too much of one or the other because it kind of offsets what people are really looking for. So just focus on those two things and don't worry about it too much because, there's no sense in worrying about it.
The main part of your campaign is obviously going to be your campaign booth. John talked about how you need to be there as much as possible, and also that'll help you talk to the membership, let them know who you are, and be able to spread the word about why you are running for state officer. With your campaign booth, you want to make sure that you maybe have some sort of display or something that you're handing out to members, and obviously a slogan like John said, so that the members can remember who you are and you just stick in their heads. That way throughout the whole conference, they know who you are, they know what you represent, and they want to vote for you at the end of the conference.
Okay, the final big thing that you'll be doing with your campaign is the formal caucus. And this is designed to test your ability to speak extemporaneously or on your feet. So what's going to happen is you're going to be in a line of chairs all on the stage, and you're going to be next to every single person that's running for your office, and each office will be asked the same question, and you will stand up and get a small amount of time to answer a question that they will ask. Now, the best tips for this would probably be don't stress over it, because the more you stress over it, the worse answers you're going to give. Just be yourself up on stage, like Riley was saying, for your speech. It's not really that big of a deal. They're not going to ask you questions that are extremely outrageous and that you don't know. They're probably going to be questions that you can most likely answer. And just give it your best shot, because once you do that, I'm guaranteeing that people will probably vote for you.
And you don't want to overstress your answers. You don't want to make them too long. Just keep them short and sweet and simple. The members want to see what you have to say about your goals and your vision for FBLA. If they were interested in reading a thesis, they would ask you to write one.
And if you do all of this successfully, you might get the chance to be elected as one of the next state officers for Nebraska FBLA, which gives you great opportunities like meeting 5 of your closest friends and networking with people all over the nation.
Being a state officer has truly been one of the greatest things in my high school career. Not only has it allowed me to pursue leadership at a different level, but as John said, it has allowed me to make relationships that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
And that really is one of the best benefits of being on the state officer team, is just the networking and the relationship building inherent of that office.
It's also really nice to go from going to a conference, listening to workshops and seeing what you can get out of it, to, on the flip side, working the conference, presenting to the members and teaching them about how to be a better leader and how to be a better business person in the future.
I think personally my favorite part of being a state officer is probably just being able to make connections with students from all across the state. And I think that's definitely my favorite part.
Just like all of these guys have said so far, getting the opportunity to network with some pretty great people all across the nation at different conferences, and then of course making some great friendships are probably some of the best opportunities I've ever gotten from this position.
FBLA is truly an organization that you get in what you put in. And I think that running as a state officer and being a state officer has been an investment that has proved lucrative for all of us. With that being said, I think this concludes our December webinar, and we hope you can join us in the future. Happy holidays. Thank you.
And we hope to see your application by January 20th for state office.
Wow.